Well, this summer, first of all, did everybody have a good summer?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like hanging on out there, isn't it? It's like sweltering. This summer, your worship team, your worship staff, we had an opportunity to really think about the future and the direction of our worship team, okay? And whenever I say worship team, that includes those who are serving in the main service on the weekends, those who are serving in the student area. This is just kind of a global vision for worship here at First Baptist Maryville. And so as we started to think about vision, as we start to think about where we're going, one thing that's always important, whether you're a part of a family or a part of a 4-H club, or if you are a part of a team, one thing that's important whenever you have a group of people together is to identify the things that you unify around. Yeah? That's what makes a team is you're unified around a shared set of goals, a shared set of values, and a shared vision together. And so I thought as we are kicking off 2019, 2020, as we're entering into a new season of ministry, a lot of you've got, you all are starting new classes this year, a brand new grade. Some of you are starting new jobs. Some of you are in a season of challenge. As we make this transition into a new season, I wanted us to talk about our shared values. Okay, how boring is that? However, I think if you will stick with me, what I want us to do is I want us to talk about the things that we can all agree are important and are most important. And so I'm calling these our core values. Not original with me, didn't make up that term, didn't mean to make you think that I did. So, core values, there are 5 of them that we've come up with. Okay, we took some time to think through these and pray through these, and Brendan and Sheila and Jessica and I have really wrestled with these this summer and talked through them together. And so I want to share them with you. All right, are you on the edge of your seat yet?
Can't wait.
Okay, all right, good. Remember, there's plenty of junk food in the back of the room.
Waiting for somebody to
Okay, so let's start with this. Does anybody have a Bible or a digital copy of their Bible with them? Okay, can someone look up for me Psalm 96?
King of the earth, sing a new song to the Lord. Let the whole earth sing to the Lord. Sing to the Lord, bless his name, proclaim his salvation day to day. Declare his glory among the nations, his wondrous deeds among all peoples. For great is the Lord and greatly to be praised. He is feared above all gods, for all the gods of the peoples are idols. But the Lord made the heavens, splendor and majesty are before him. Strength and beauty are in his sanctuary. Ascribe to the Lord, you families of the peoples. Ascribe to the Lord glory and strength. Ascribe to the Lord the glory of his name. Bring an offering and enter his courts. Worship the Lord in splendor of his holiness. Let the whole earth tremble before him. Say among the nations, the Lord reigns. The world is firmly established, it cannot be shaken. He judges the peoples fairly. Let the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice. Let the sea and all that fills it resound. Let the fields and everything in them celebrate. Then all the trees of the forest will shout for joy before the Lord. For he is coming to judge the earth. He will judge the world with righteousness and the peoples with his faithfulness.
Fantastic. You know, as I was preparing all of this content for you tonight and thinking through everything, Psalm 96 came up, and it was funny. I shared this with the team, and Brendan said, "Oh, that's funny. 15 minutes ago, I just read Psalm 96." So this chapter in Psalm came up because it just encapsulates everything that I'm thinking about for the future for us. Okay, and so as we go along, I'm going to pull some of that out of there and talk about it. But let's start with our 5 core values here. I apologize for those in the back of the room. This is way smaller than I thought. I'll talk. I'll talk through it. Okay. So number 1, there's 5 of them. Let's just walk through it here. Number 1, congregational singing. Everybody know what that is? Okay, good. Number 2, beauty and creativity. Number 3, learning. Number 4, authenticity. And number 5, legacy focused. Okay? So what I'd like to do this evening with those 5 core values, I want to walk through every single value and tell you why that's important. Okay? Not a lot of these, like if you were to pick out 5 random companies and pull up their core values, authenticity would probably be on there somewhere. Learning would probably be on there somewhere. Okay? But we were really intentional about putting those things on there. We didn't just copy and paste this, though that would have been much easier. But I want to walk through why we chose each of these core values. And then part 2 of this evening, I want to talk about how we're going to go about implementing them. Okay? Because all of these, we are doing all of these on a level. Okay? That's why I think it's important for us to rally around them, because it's already a part of our culture. We're just taking an opportunity to identify them and to say, these are the 5 most important right now for this season of ministry for our team. So, all right, well, let's talk about congregational singing. Why am I putting this as one of our 5 core values? Well, first of all, congregational singing, or singing in general, number 1, we are created to sing. How many of you can remember, well, let's just say this. Zacchaeus was, yeah, Father Abraham, the itsy bitsy spider. Yeah, okay, so memory, singing is so integral to our emotions and to our memories, yeah? Yeah, okay. Did anybody, I don't know if they still do this in public school, but did anybody memorize their multiplication tables using songs?
That would have been easier.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Now, I don't remember all of them, but I can remember some of my multiplication tables and some of the larger ones. When you get up to like 7, 8, 9, still have to sing those through. All right. No, I got a lot to get through. But yeah, we're created to sing. Part of being human is singing. And so as we talk about our faith, as we learn our faith, we do it through singing. For hundreds of years in the history of the church, the faith was passed through singing. Martin Luther, does everybody know the great reformer Martin Luther? Martin Luther, some people feared his hymns more than they feared the man himself. There's so much power in the words that we sing and in the songs that we sing. Okay? Letter B, we're commanded to sing. There's over 400 references in Scripture commanding us and asking us, imploring us to sing, to lift up our voice. We heard it just right there in Psalm 96. So sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Letter C, we are compelled to sing. There's so much wonder in worship. How many of you have either set out at like a sunset or gotten way out in the middle of nowhere to where you can actually see like the Milky Way galaxy?
Yes.
Isn't there so much wonder whenever you experience that? Yeah, that's part of that compulsion. That's what compels us to sing. And so as a congregation, I want us to sing together. And number 4 up there, and why congregational singing is on this list, is that as a church, we don't sing very well. I don't know if you've noticed that or not. That's not because we're bad. It's just because we haven't emphasized it. Yeah, Jessica.
What do you mean well?
We don't sing well.
Define that.
Yeah, so the level of engagement is low. Okay, so there's a lot of standing and staring, which is okay. Sometimes you need to stand and stare and contemplate. And also the level at which singing happens. There's a difference between this and me singing my multiplication tables, which would be loud and raucous and really robust. So I think that's a great question. Thank you. That doesn't mean necessarily that your hands are lifted, doesn't mean that you're jumping around, but it does mean you can tell the difference between me delivering this like this and just reading it to you guys like this, and me like being on the edge of my seat and really excited about what it is we're talking about, okay? And it might be a subtle difference. I don't know. I can't see me. But this is one of the reasons why this is a core value for us and a cultural value. And I'm going to talk about what we can do or what I think we can do to make that better, but I think it's something we need to work on. You guys on board with that?
Yes.
Okay, very good. This is a great quote right here, and this is always like a very poignant quote for me whenever I come across it, but it says, "Show me a church's songs, and I'll show you their theology." Isn't that interesting? Doesn't say, "Show me their sermon notes." Those sermon notes are important. Doesn't say, "Show me which Bible study they're going through in their small groups." Though Bible study small groups are important. It says, "Show me their songs, and I'll show you their theology." Getting at the heart of what is molding us and shaping us as believers. Here's a fantastic book. If you've ever heard of the book or ever gotten a chance to read the book, Worship Matters by Bob Coughlin. I know several of you on the leadership team have. It's a fantastic book, and even if you read, just pick out a couple of chapters, it's just packed full of wisdom for the church. But one of the things that he says, one of the questions he asks as a challenge is, if someone was born in our church and grew up singing our songs over the course of 20 years, how well would they know God? Some important questions for us to think about. And that's why, this is why congregational singing is on my heart, and I think it's something that the Lord is leading us into a season of really focusing on getting better as a congregation and as singers. All right. Everybody on board with congregational singing? Fantastic. Okay. Let's go on. Beauty and creativity. How important do you think beauty and creativity are? Just thoughts? Extremely? Okay. Very good. I love hearing that. I was not expecting to hear that. It's fantastic. Extremely important. Yeah. Well, let's put it in the context. Okay. Let's talk through here. I'll tell you why I've chosen this, and then we'll keep going here. I won't get off my notes too much. I was about to chase a rabbit. All right, so let's go back to beauty and creativity. So why do we have an emphasis on beauty and creativity? Well, number one is the creation around us is clothed and adorned in beauty. God did not just make merely a functional universe. He didn't make merely a universe that gets the job done. He clothed and adorned the universe with beauty and majesty. You can see it on the microscopic level. You can see it in your everyday life. You can see it on a macro level. There's beauty and there's creativity all around us. And so part of being made in his image, part of being the Imago Dei, made in the image of God, I think that we need to be a people who take beauty and creativity seriously. Number three there, beauty evokes wonder and delight. Does it not? What I was just talking about with the sunset, or with going out into the country and looking up at seeing the Milky Way galaxy. I mean, wonder and delight happen whenever you're in the presence of beauty. I also think whenever we talk about creativity, a creative community is a community that's growing together. If you have a community that's creating and that's pushing itself, and let me just say, I don't think that everyone has to be creative. If you don't have the desire to be creative, that's okay. We're not going to force you, to draw a picture and then show it on Sunday morning in front of all of your families and friends. That might be a good punishment. Just kidding. No, we're not going to force you into creativity. But if you have that desire and you have that skill, you should use it. It's good that you're using it. And as you use it, you're serving the rest of your community. We're singing new songs together. I don't think that's an example, and I don't think that's a mistranslation, that God calls us to sing new songs. For me, creativity doesn't just relate to music. It relates to visual art. It relates to those of you who write. We do Easter plays. We've done Easter plays the last several years that Julie has written. And that's come out of just her discipline, her taking her craft and making it a serious part of the habit of her life. We've got a song that we're premiering in November that Elizabeth wrote this summer during one of our 7-day creativity challenges. And so a community that's creating together, they're growing together, they're developing. It's almost like, creativity is almost like teaching. How well do you learn something if you're going to be tested on it versus if you're going to teach it? You guys ever have that? Do you ever have to give presentations in school? Yeah, and your teacher's like, okay, you're gonna teach the rest of the class this topic. Well, then you really have to study and you really have to dig in because you have to simplify the information in a way that can be transmitted to a large number of people. But creativity is the same way. That the way that you can internalize the word is to set it to poems, set it to scripture, or set it to a song so that it can be sung and proclaimed by God's people. And then the final part there, beauty is about unity, harmony, and wholeness. And so these are ideals that we should be striving toward ourselves. Okay, so congregational singing, number one. Everybody on board with that?
Yep.
Still?
Yes.
Okay, haven't lost anyone. Number two, beauty and creativity. Everybody on board with that?
Yes.
Okay. That one some may love more than others, and that's okay. Let's go on. Number three. Number three is learning. Okay, so let me talk about learning because the category of learning really encompasses a lot of different values. As we were thinking through this together, there were so many different values that I wanted to highlight, but I think learning really is a broad category for that. So let me give it to you, okay? Number one, this is what learning is. Learning, yes, it is about expanding your knowledge base, okay? Just the nuts and bolts of what you do. It's learning what 3 more knobs do on the soundboard, you know? It's learning what 2 more clicks in Pro Presenter will get you. It's learning 1 extra minor scale, even though we rarely play in minor keys. It's, those types of things. It's really expanding your knowledge base, okay? It's the act of pursuing God with our minds. Number 2, the application of the word. I want you to pursue wisdom and understanding. I want you to grow in wisdom and understanding. Knowledge is important, yes, but I want you to know how to apply the knowledge, not only the knowledge of your craft, but the knowledge of God, okay? Number 3, skill development. I want you to get better. I want you to be able to play with more proficiency and produce with more proficiency. And then ultimately your spiritual development, and I want you to pursue freedom in your spiritual life through a disciplined approach to your spiritual life. Okay? So essentially what I'm saying there is when we have learning as a value, yes, I want you to get better at your vocation. This is essentially what's happening here is God has called you to play the guitar or to run sound or to do these different things in this season of life. And so this is part of your vocation. And I want to the best of my ability, equip you to do that better. However, my ultimate goal and my primary goal is I want to equip you as a disciple of Christ. My aim for you and you learning is that you will be a sharper tool in the kingdom, wherever that may be. Okay? For me, it's worth an investment. It's worth all of my time to invest in you growing as disciples in Christ, even if 3 years from now we start a church plant and all of you go to serve at that church plant and we have to start over again. That will be a great investment for me. My goal is not to make you be a better servant at First Baptist Maryville. Yeah? Everybody on board with that? My goal is not for you to be a better servant at First Baptist Maryville. I want to think globally. And I want to think what you can do and what God's going to call you to 5 years from now in your life. So yeah, that means I'm going to push you. I want to push you in your skills. I want to push you in your craft. And I want to push you to grow spiritually, but I want to push you way beyond this place. Everybody good with that? All right, good. Awesome. So a couple more things on learning. Why I want you to learn, I kind of got ahead of myself there. God's desire for you. Yes. Yes.
You said you're going to push that how?
Yes, I'll get to it. That's part 2. Good question. Was there another question? Okay, good. All right, so why I want you to learn, I kind of went through this already. Number 1, God's desire is for you to learn. Number 2, our culture is hungry to be engaged in a deep way. Yeah. Our culture needs Christians who think deeply about their faith, who ask hard questions, who go through seasons of doubt, who go through seasons of struggle, and who really mind the depths of faith in Jesus. And then the last reason, this may not be important to any of you, but it's important to me, is just the enjoyment of it. God has given us a world where we can grow, where we can learn. And there is so much joy that comes from being curious and growing, right? That can happen in your spiritual life. That can happen in just your day-to-day life as well. Okay, authenticity. This one I want to dig into a little more because I think that if we start doing this one, first of all, let me say this. I think we do this one well. And I'm trying to be as objective as possible, but I really do think we do authenticity well. It wouldn't take much for us to do this poorly. And if we start doing this poorly, none of the rest of this matters. Okay? So, number one, the reason why I want to focus on authenticity is I don't want you living compartmentalized lives. We have this kind of false divide that happens between the sacred and the secular in our lives, between the spiritual and the physical. We think we come to church on the weekend, that's my spiritual investment, that's my spiritual life. But this call that I have on Monday with this person who drives me nuts, this has nothing to do with my spiritual life. Or I have to go home and mow the grass. This has nothing to do with my spiritual life. Or, my kids, I can't get them to, clean their room or whatever. All of these things, all of life is spiritual. The physical, we cannot separate our physical beings from our spiritual beings. And so I want us to live wholly integrated lives. Number two, character and integrity, they matter. They're important. How we treat people, that matters. Whether that be online, on social media, or in the drive-thru, or, in any situation where you want to scream at someone over the phone when you're trying to change your phone plan. Those types of things. Those are how we treat people matters. Number 5, legacy focus. I'm so glad that we have half the room tonight filled with our student ministry. Thank you guys for coming. There we go. We tried our best. I'm sorry. Why are we focusing on the next generation?
Touch a day we'll never see.
To touch a day we'll never see. That's right. That's an axiom that gets thrown around here all the time, and it perfectly encapsulates. I can't say it any better. But, we've got a few more minutes to fill, so I'll keep talking. So why we are focused on the next generation. This one's important to me. Number 1, church programming isn't reaching them, and it wasn't designed to. Church programming was designed to supplement their spiritual growth. It wasn't meant to be their primary source of spiritual growth. You were. All of you sitting in this room are. Their parents are. But as we all know, some of us grow up with parents who are really engaged spiritually in our life, and some of us grow up with parents who aren't. Doesn't matter. All of you who are sitting in here, most of you sitting around this circle who are not in the student ministry, quote unquote, most of you have been Christians for longer than a lot of them have been alive. Okay? So that means that you have a lot to offer them. And I want this to be, I just want our team to catch this vision right here. If you don't catch anything else, catch this vision right here and just go nuts with it. Because I think we have such an incredible opportunity. Do you know how many churches would give all of their budgets for the fiscal year just to have this many students sitting in their building on a Wednesday night? A lot of them would. And so we need to take advantage and invest in them in a way that's meaningful in their lives. I want you guys, here's a great resource I want you to check out. It's called the Fuller Youth Institute. There's an author who works with him, and I'm sorry, I don't have the name. I didn't pull that out, and I can't remember who she is, but she did a fantastic study of students 18 years and older, between 18 and 29. That's kind of the big gap where students will leave the church and they'll come back. And do you remember her name?
Is that the
Jessica?
one from the Edge Conference? that
It
wrote
might
that
have
book?
been.
I have that book.
I know Lifeway did a study too,
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
Fuller
that's the one I'm
Institute.
talking about.
Yeah, they're very similar. I think they came to very similar conclusions. But really, between 18 and 29, a lot of students leave the church. At 29, once they kind of get married and start families, they come back. Well, we're now in a time in our culture where at 29, they're not coming back. So there have been a lot of people doing studies into why that's not happening. And so check out the Fuller Youth Institute and check out the book Sticky Faith. Sticky Faith. Great resource from them. And they've got blogs and different things at Fuller Youth Institute. Great website there. But they gave 4 reasons what causes sticky faith with students. And their top one is intergenerational relationships. Crazy, right? I mean, we're afraid that they're not going to think that we're cool enough. You guys don't care about that, right? Yeah, no one cares about that. There you go. I just did an informal survey for you right there. So no one cares about that. Intergenerational relationships. They want to know you. They want to get wisdom from you. Whenever I was their age, I didn't hunger for wisdom, but I was pretty close to it. I was about in a season where I needed a lot of it, coming up with college and things like that. And so they need you in their lives. At the Fuller Youth Institute, they through all of their research, they determined that it takes about 5 to 1, a 5 to 1 ratio, 5 adults to 1 student to really make an impact in their life. And so that's why it's important that all of you sitting around this circle are getting involved. Oh yeah, and for those of you who are older, who are like sophomore, junior, senior year, this includes you too. You guys can start making an investment as well in those who are in 7th grade and 8th grade and even younger than that. Legacy focus. Isn't that great? All right. Okay, so let's talk about how. How are we going to do this? This is for Owen. Right here.
Just for me.
Just for you. That's right. Everyone else go home. Owen, come here. Okay. So how are we going to do congregational singing? This is my strategy right here. If you guys have other ideas, I'm not the expert. I'm not the sole authority on all of this. I'm open to try anything, okay? Number 1, worship nights. We're going to do, by September 29th, we'll have done 6 worship nights in 1 year. And I love that. I think it's a great pace for us. People are coming, they're engaging, they're singing well. It's a place, it really is a training ground. Not only is it an opportunity to pull away and make an important investment spiritually, but it's a great opportunity to hear the church sing together. So worship nights are important. I know you guys can't make it to every one of them. And it's not my expectation that you come and be there at every single one and that I'm going to show up on your doorstep at midnight that night and be like, hey, so where were you? That's not going to happen probably. But what I do want you to do is I want you to be as intentional as you can, as your schedule allows it, to come and be a part of worship nights. Okay?
Matt,
Yes.
question.
Yes,
Worship
absolutely.
nights.
Yes.
Is this something that, how do I put this, that you want the choir to be singing at? Or is this just a whole, where everybody shows up together, we all sing together?
Good question. Well, usually throughout the year, what we do throughout the year, we keep the team pretty small on purpose. One, it doesn't burn everyone out because we're doing them basically every 8 weeks. And so we're not using the same people rotating through and through and burning people out as we do that, because it's a pretty significant, we're doing 15 to 20 songs. And so it's a pretty significant investment whenever it comes to prep for that. However, as we do like Christmas, that'll be a bigger worship night. As we do some different things like that, I'm open to that. Now, no, I'm not expecting the choir to come and be at every single one of them. Let me say that again. I'm not expecting them to participate in every single one of them.
Okay.
Most of them we do in the chapel, and so we're already limited on space as is. I would be open, probably not this year for Christmas because we have some other things planned with the choir, but I would be open to that in the future, having them participate and join in with that.
So this is just a
Yeah.
whole church family get together
This is
and
everybody.
sing and praise God.
Yeah.
29th, it's the day before my last day of work. I will
Fantastic.
be there.
Well, come on out. You'll have plenty of things to sing about. Okay, so worship nights, those are important. Number two, I do this weekly newsletter with our creative services team called This Weekend at FBMaryville. It's so creative, such a creative name, isn't it? I used a lot of beauty and creativity in that. But it's called This Weekend at FBMaryville is a video that I shoot every week for that. And it's super simple. And here was my only goal with that. And pretty much, like, the video is very similar every week. I give an overview of what the sermon's going to be about for the weekend. And then I tell everyone to check out the description below that video where we put a Spotify playlist and a YouTube playlist for all of the music that we're singing. And my goal was twofold. Number one, I wanted people to have access to the music before we got to the weekend so they could listen and they could know the music and come ready to sing. And number two, it takes them to our YouTube channel. And so for those who think they might want to be involved in the worship team, the old bait and switch. Get them right there, and then they know they can see some different things. They can see our rehearsal videos. They can see some of the training on our website. Yeah.
Can you list the social media platforms that you post those things on?
Yeah, absolutely. So we post that video every week. Sheila posts that in the FBM Worship Facebook group. Mm-hmm. So if you're in that group, if you're not in that group, hit somebody up who's on Facebook who's in that group. Get them to add you. So we post it there. It also goes out in the weekly newsletter. And I don't know where you signed up for that newsletter. If you're not signed up to it and you want to get signed up to it, hit me up after this because I will figure out how to get you signed up to that newsletter so you can get it. It goes out at noon every Friday.
The churches, is it the overall churches?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it should be the email that you get on Friday.
Yes.
That you can send.
Yep, noon every Friday. Yeah, that's one of the strategies that we use. Number three, and this is something I want to encourage you guys, those watching the replay, everybody, I want to encourage you all with this. And let me just say it and I'll give the caveats. For all of our services, whether they be, the weekend services or special events or student services or whatever they want to be, whatever they are, I want to encourage you to sit up front and to engage. I want you to lead from the front. By engage, yes, that means sing. That means, be involved in the music portion of the service. But I want you to take notes with the message. I want you to be attentive and excited about what it is Tom is delivering. Okay, here's the caveat of that. Number one, I know some of you have kids, and kids are unpredictable in services, and sometimes you need to sit next to an exit so you can exit for a potty break or for a screen break or whatever it is you need to exit for. I completely get that. I know some weekends you're not feeling well and maybe you need to exit for a screen break. So I get that. But as it works with your schedule, let me encourage you, set up in the first 3 or 4 rows and really sing and engage deeply. Now, a lot of you, honestly, I'm looking around this room, a lot of you already do that. Mm-hmm. You already sit up in those front close sections. But as often as possible, whenever you get there on time, set up front, and really engage with what's going on. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's an easy thing, but it's a visual thing that our congregation will see. Hey, the front of the room, they're really engaged. Maybe I should be that engaged, And then the last thing, this is really my fault that we're not already doing this, but we're trying to put together seasonal playlists of music. Every year, my goal is to create a fall playlist of music. Hey, here's all the songs, 40 to 50 songs that we're going to be singing on a regular basis in our service. Some of them are going to be new, some of them are going to be old, but 40 to 50 songs that we're going to try to be intentional about doing this fall. Here's a spring playlist and here's a summer playlist. And of course, Christmas. Christmas is its own thing, but and even Easter. But those are the types of things. Last year at Christmas, actually, I did this. I put together a Spotify playlist and put all the lyrics together in an ebook, and we sent it out to the congregation. But I want to do this on a more regular basis because I think people can listen and they can start to know the music better. But also you can use these lyrics in your devotion time. You can read through them and it can be a part of your prayer time in the mornings. They, for years, publishers have made hymnals that just have words in them for this very reason, so that you can use them as a devotional tool. So those are my hows for congregational singing. I'm sure all of you have better ideas, and as you do, send them my way. Okay, for beauty and creativity, number one, this is super simple. If you have the desire to create something, okay? Just take up the habit, take up the discipline of growing your craft, because the church is going to benefit. If you're not developing your gift, you are, I don't want to be melodramatic, you're not hurting all of us, but we are not benefiting from what you can offer. So this can be writing, this can be songwriting, composing, it can be illustrations, it can be filmmaking, it could even be, hey, I've got a great idea for how we can change the service flow. I think we can implement this, and here's the impact it would have. That's creativity, you know? It doesn't seem like it, but that's a creative way that we can communicate the gospel. Creativity challenges. Some of you did the 7-day creativity challenge this summer. Is anybody up for doing that again?
Yes.
Yeah? All right, awesome. We'll figure out a time and we'll do it again. It was fun. It was an
neat to see
intense
what everybody
focus.
was doing.
Yeah,
It really was.
intense focus period of really making, moving the ball down the court. So very cool. And workshops. Would anybody be up for like a creativity workshop, like a songwriting workshop or retreat or anything like that? Okay. Cool. That's awesome. Very good. Okay, learning. I have so much for learning, Owen. I've got like 3 sets of slides for learning, just for you, Owen. Okay, well, here we go. Here's how I want us to approach learning. Number 1, workshops. We are like cranking out workshops like crazy this fall here, okay? Let me give them to you, what we've got planned. Vocal workshop coming up September 28th. Those of you who are frontline folks or worship leaders, this is going to be geared toward helping you know how to do verbal transitions, how to do attacks and releases, and shaping your vowels as you're singing together as a team. We've got Jessica and Brendan are leading that, and they're going to be putting together some great stuff to walk you guys through. It'll be about an hour and a half on that Saturday afternoon. So September 28th, 1:30 to 3 p.m. in the chapel. Number 2, we're going to do a Pro Presenter workshop. How cool does that sound? Pro Presenter. Come on. But no, it actually is going to be a lot of fun. Alan Holtgravy and I, we're going to do a Pro Presenter workshop November 9th. That'll be a Saturday, and we're actually going to do that in the morning. We'll do it from 10 a.m. to noon. And there's going to be food, because we know that we won't get people to come to a software workshop unless we provide food. So it'll actually be in the high school. It'll be on the first floor of the high school. The room number is D117. So just go over there, go in by the chapel and enter the high school over there, and it's your first room on your left as you come in. So we'll be set up there. We'll have some food. We'll hopefully have some different computer stations as well, so you can click along and try out some of the tricks that we're showing you as we go along. Yes, Owen.
So those information will be written somewhere so we don't forget.
Yeah, so are you subscribed to the newsletter?
Not
To
yet.
Okay. Can you take a note on that or remind me? I'm sorry, Sheila, I'm just pulling that up in
that's
there.
fine.
Could you just send me an email that says add Own to the
So like date and time
newsletter?
and then what's gonna be.
Yeah. I'll send you this month's. All of that info went out in this month's FBM Worship newsletter, so I'll just forward you a copy of that. Cool. Yeah, no problem. My pleasure. Okay, and then 2 more that are TBD. We're going to do a rhythm section workshop and an audio workshop as well, to help those of you who are instrumentalists and those of you who run sound. So number 2, video training resources on our YouTube channel. We've created quite a few resources, and we've got about 8 times more than we've created in the hopper. It's a process. It just takes time to get all of them put together. Brendan's got some fantastic ideas, and he's working on recording some things here and there and getting them edited up. actually this weekend he's going to be working on a training video for setting your ear mix whenever you're in different positions. So he's going to create one for drummers this weekend, and then he'll create one for lead vocalists the next time he leads and things like that. So he's got some fantastic ideas on all of that. And so we're going to be working like crazy this next year just to produce some click and enjoy that there. Okay, number 3, as far as learning is concerned, some of you are already doing this, some of you aren't, but participate in a small group. Find a small group and be a part of it. Our small groups are heavy on Sunday mornings. There's a lot of them, which is difficult whenever you're serving on the worship team, all 3 hours. But there are some small groups more and more all the time who are meeting during the week. And so if you can't find one that meets at a time that you can meet, start a small group. It's not that hard, you know. There's tons of resources out there on Right Now Media. Right Now Media is a free resource that we give to our people. And so somehow be in a community of believers where you're growing and you're sharing your lives together. Okay, a small community of believers. And then number 4, to engage in the spiritual disciplines. This one is on my mind a lot this summer. I read a fantastic book called Spirit of the Disciplines. It's by a theologian and philosopher named Dallas Willard. He wrote it back in 1986, which was the year that I was born. However, it is still in publication because there's just so much wisdom and a prophetic vision that's within that book that gives us, it was so enriching for me. And so I want to talk about spiritual disciplines here a little bit because these are things I want to encourage in you guys as we grow, okay? So here are the main disciplines that he lays out here that I want to encourage you guys to make a part of your spiritual walk as you go along. He has 2 different categories. One's are the discipline of abstinence, so that has to do with like self-denial. And the second group is the disciplines of engagement, and that has to do with being in community with one another. And of course, this is not an exhaustive list, but this is the list of disciplines that Christians throughout the centuries have engaged in on a regular basis, and it has grown and developed their walk with Christ. Number 1, solitude, silence. I think that kind of speaks for itself. I've got a resource here for you in just a moment, too, that'll help with that. Fasting, Sabbath, secrecy. Secrecy has to do with not letting your left hand know what your right hand is doing. And so really taking seriously anonymous giving, kind of that concept, not just monetarily, but anonymously doing things that build into other people's lives. And then the final one is submission. It has to do with how you interact with spiritual authority in your life. The other disciplines, these are ones that I tend to think of whenever I think of spiritual disciplines. I think of Bible reading, worship, prayer. Friendship has to do with just relationships with other believers and community. Personal reflection time through journaling and through just getting alone, solitude and reflection can kind of go together. And then, of course, service, and that has to do with how you serve First Baptist Maryville in the worship department. Here's a fantastic resource for all of this, okay? Because I'm just throwing all of these things at you. But there's at least like half of those things on that list as I was reading through Spirit of the Disciplines this summer that I was like, I don't even know where I would start with some of these things. Like silence and solitude, I get that. But there's like a million miles an hour of random things happening up here. So how do I make that really practical? Well, here's a website called practicingtheway.org. Practicingtheway.org. And this is just a screenshot video of what you'll see on there. But they've got digital resources, ebooks, and things like that. They've also got links to other books that help you with, fasting. Maybe you've never done the discipline of fasting before. Well, it would be helpful to have some resources that would help you with that. Silence and solitude. And they also have, I'm showing here, a sermon series. This is a church, Bridgetown Church. They were the ones who produced this resource. Their pastor did a series called Practicing the Way, and this is where the website came from. So this is a great resource, practicingtheway.org, and it will really help you as you grow and develop in your spiritual walk. Okay, so I want to commend that to you. How do we do authenticity? Well, participate in a small group. It's a great way to do it. Confess your sins to one another. Okay, let me talk through that one just a moment. I don't mean to everyone. I want you to be wise about this. I want you to find people who you trust, who love you, and their main goal is for you to grow in your walk with Christ. That's who you should be confessing your sins to, okay? And this is a powerful, powerful discipline that if you can really get it worked into your life in a meaningful, a deep, meaningful relationship, will really take your spiritual walk to the next level. Embrace accountability and transparency, okay? Make that a part. Figure out ways. If there are parts of your life that nobody has any authority over, figure out a way to get some accountability in your life, okay? Pray Psalm 139, search me, O God, and know my heart. That will, if you approach the Lord honestly, that will cut you open, okay? Search me, O Lord, and know my heart. And then finally, flee from unforgiveness. I see so many Christians struggle and waffle in their faith for years and years and years just because of unforgiveness. Flee from it. Get away from it. Go. If you need to ask for forgiveness, go ask for forgiveness. If you need to forgive somebody, go forgive somebody. This was an important one that Jesus said that if you don't forgive, you will not be forgiven. So this is a big one. We have to do this one right. We have to do it well. Okay, legacy focus. This is how I want you to do this. Find someone younger than you and get involved in their lives. Okay? Be wise about it. Guys, hang out with the guys. Ladies, hang out with the ladies. Pour into them. Be smart. Don't be alone one-on-one, those types of things. But hey, they practice on Sunday morning. Go up there. Hang out with them. Get to know them. Here's the thing. They assume that everyone over 18 knows exactly what they're doing. So if you just go in and act confident, they're going to think you belong there anyway. Okay? Just kidding, guys. But seriously, that's probably true. Just go in, act confident. Be like, hey, my name's Amanda. I probably have some of you in my class, or had some of you in my class. I've already forgotten, So, yeah, just get involved. Get to know their family. Get to go to their games, marching band, all of that stuff. Encourage them to grow spiritually and in their craft. And then teach them something that you've learned for free. All right? This is not a way for you to build your studio over here. Make sure, teach them, give away your knowledge for free. Okay? I don't ever want to hear from anyone on this team. I've put in my years. Now I'm going to step back and let somebody else do it. Okay? There is no retirement in the kingdom. All right? There are seasons where we do have to step back and rest and things like that, but there is no retirement in the kingdom. You've not put in your years until your years have put you down.
Yeah.
All right? So I want you guys to catch a vision for this. I need to grow in this just as much as everybody. So I want all of us to catch a vision for investment in the next generation. And I want you guys to think of them not as, that's the student ministry over there, or they're in the student band. They are leaders. These are worship leaders. Because whether you know it or not, they have more influence than you can even imagine. All right? They're going to reach people that you don't even have a shot at reaching. And we need to invest well in them. But for you guys, this right here, season of your life, I know if you're getting up, to 10th, 11th, 12th grade, you feel like that season of your life is going to last forever, right? Because it's like just another test and another event that I have to be a part of, and another early morning, and another late night, and another after-school practice, and another one of these things. This is so cliche, but you're going to blink and it's going to be gone. And you're going to be in a season of life where you're going to be leaders, okay? So take on that challenge now. Take on that challenge of finding someone who's younger than you, all right? If you are potty trained, there is somebody you can be investing in, all right? If you are beyond that season of life of potty training, there's someone younger than you that you can already be investing in. Yeah? You guys catch that vision? You guys good with that?
Yes.
Good. All right. Well, okay, let me close with this. Oh my gosh, I've gone way over. I'm so sorry, guys. Let me close with this. Actions. Here's 8 things that I want you to take away from this. Okay. Number 1, lead from the front anytime you're in a service. Number 2, come to the worship nights as often as you can, whenever your schedule allows. Whenever you don't have to get up at 4 a.m. the next morning to go to work, whatever. As your schedule allows, come to worship nights. If you have the desire and ability to create, take on the discipline of developing your craft. Join a small group. Small groups are so important. I know it takes planning. It may be 6 months from now before you can get in a small group. That's okay. Make a plan. Figure it out. Get the small group guide. It just came out. They're in the pews in there. I'll turn on the lights. You can go in and grab one. But just go find a small group. Be a part of it. Okay? Even if it's like you find 3 other guys who are like, yeah, I'll get up at 5:30 and go to breakfast with you on Thursdays. Do that. I don't know why I just did like a hick accent there. Yeah, figure out a way. Get in a small group. Attend one of these workshops. We're trying to give workshops for everybody, and we're trying to figure out ways to pour into every single person. So find a workshop, be a part of them. Number 6, read a book on theology or spiritual development. I know some of you aren't readers. That's okay. Audible, get an audio book. It's fantastic. You can listen to it on twice speed, and it takes you like 15 minutes to get through a book. So do that. It's fantastic. But read a book. Grow your knowledge. Okay, knowledge isn't the most important thing in the kingdom, but neither is just your heart. Okay, your knowledge does need to grow, and so does your heart. Okay, so read a book. Number 7, establish accountability structures. If this is online, this may mean that somebody has all of your passwords and your login, preferably not a Nigerian prince, but somebody should have all of your logins and your passwords so that they can check in on you online. Some type of accountability software. Maybe you just need to download Find My Friends and give it to somebody who can keep you accountable. Those types of things. We live in a crazy day, folks, and so you have to do things that protect your walk. Okay, and then number 8, connect with someone in the next generation and serve them. Guys, I've been so long-winded tonight. I apologize for that, but this is where I want us to go as a team. This is what I think the next probably 3 to 5 years of ministry look like for us in the worship team at FBMaryville. So let me pray with you, and then we'll get out of here, okay? God, thank you for this time. I pray that I know this is just the start of where you want to take us as a team. And, ultimately, there may be things that, and I hope there are things that come out of this night that have nothing to do with First Baptist Maryville. I hope that we can reach people way beyond our doors here just because of catching this vision of singing well and being about beauty because you've created that, and learning deeply, thinking deeply, making sure that we're walking in accordance with the calling that you've called us to, and then really investing our time in those who are coming after us. I hope that vision, Lord, will just blaze out of this place tonight. And as we walk, Lord, there will be areas where we'll need to be corrected and where we'll need to, straighten our path a little bit. And we just pray for your Spirit to be there to guide us and to lead us. I pray for everybody in the circle, those who are watching the replay of this video, that you'll expand their capacity and open their influence. We love you, Lord, and we ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.